George Rose, announcement of sorts today. Tim Tszyu back in Australia in September. Overall thoughts and how this all came about?
Excited. I'm excited. Tim Tszyu's back in Australia. I always love when Tim fights here in Australia. I think it just brings a really good energy to Australian boxing when Tim's fighting here. The show that comes with it, and the crowd, the support, and the amount of attention that's on boxing when Tim Tszyu's fighting in Australia is only good for the sport here. And I love doing shows here, so I'm excited for it.
Erickson Lubin was thrown about up there. Have conversations occurred? What's the sort of status of those negotiations?
Yeah, so we're talking at the moment. The IBF mandated the IBF mandated Lubin. We're in discussions at the moment. Hopefully get something locked away. We've got till 30th of July to lock something away. Otherwise it'll go to purse bids. But, if we don't get something sorted by then, I'll be very surprised.
Fight was to go to purse bids. Does that mean it could happen overseas, or does it have to happen here in Australia, or is it just unknown at this stage?
We're not losing. We're not losing. It goes to purse bids, we're not losing.
Tim Tszyu back in Australia. Massive support for him here. That's a win-win for you guys.
Yeah, of course. He's built his name here. He's got such a good reputation here in Sydney. We're here in the home of Tszyu Boxing Academy here today, and he's really built himself up here. So it is good that he's going to be back here. Good time of the year too, I think. In between the final series for our other major sports, the NRL and the AFL, and I just think it's going to be a really good time and a great fight too.
IBF World Title Eliminator. Is it fair to say that Bakram Murtazaliev is a target of sorts for Tim Tszyu?
Big target. Anyone who's got a belt is a very big target, and they probably should be concerned that Tim Tszyu is coming for them. So anyone who's got a belt, Tim Tszyu is coming.
If he was to get that IBF belt eventually, that opens up doors for a Fondora rematch or a Spence fight, Crawford as well. Is that the way you see it?
Some beautiful names there that you've just rattled off, and they are absolutely on the list. They're fights that I'd love to make and fights I'd love to see. Tim's back. He's healthy again. He's going to be fighting, and I'd say that he'll probably have 2 or 3 fights before half of these blokes end up stepping in the ring. So he'll be very active, and he's gunning for everyone.
Crawford Madrimov's just around the corner, 2 weeks away now. Thoughts on that fight?
I think it's an interesting one. I think, Crawford, obviously, pound for pound king, deservedly so. His achievements are amazing. But that fight's a really tough one, Madrimov, he's a different fighter, and it'll be a great test for how Crawford handles the size and power coming up to 154. If he dominates that, then everyone in the division should be, getting ready, because if he can dominate that fight, then he definitely is going to be a force at 154. But Madrimov is a chance.
Nikita Tszyu, Cohen Mazoudier, great domestic fight.
Great fight. Look, it's one I've wanted for a while, and it's a tough one because I really like both of them. Cohen is such a likeable person. He's a great fighter. Always puts on great performances, and Nikita as well. You can't dislike Nikita. There's nothing to dislike about him. So I think he's our most entertaining fighter because he seems to risk it all every time that he's in the ring. Is that it feels like sometimes he could win a fight easily, but he chooses to make it more difficult and more exciting. Cohen Mazoudier is a guy who goes the distance, never takes a backward step, goes the distance, can fight, and is very dangerous. Very dangerous. It was less than 12 months ago he was top 10 in the world. So he's a guy who I think had come into this fight with a lot of confidence, knowing that he's going to get chances to land on Nikita, knowing how Nikita fights and loves to get into a brawl. It's could play into Cohen's hands, but Nikita's something else. He's a special fighter and an exciting human. I'm looking forward to the banter leading up to it.
All right, picking back up with George Rose. George, disappointing news over the weekend with Mikhailowicz, Janabek. How did that all play out for you guys?
Yeah, look, it was a tough one. I think Andre did absolutely everything in his power to prepare well for that fight, and I thought he was in great shape, and he was ready. He was ready for an upset, and so it was disappointing. Like, he's worked his whole life for that opportunity, and for that to happen, very disappointing.
See, fighter safety is paramount, but will you guys sort of push for Janibek to be stripped, perhaps?
Well, I think he deserves to be stripped, given what's happened. He looked big at the press conference. I said he looked big, but the fact that if you can't make the weight, move up. Let the guys who can make weight do what they do. Let them showcase what they can do. Andrei Mikhailovich is at that world-class level, and he's a guy who wanted to fight for a world title. Give him his opportunity to fight at that weight, which he's naturally built for.
Big fights on down in Wollongong last week. Sam Goodman, big win for him. He sustained a hand injury though. Any update on that?
Yeah, look, it probably ended up being the best result that it could be. I think there's, I won't give you the medical terminology of what happened, but it's not terrible. It's not terrible. So he'll be back. He can still train currently, just no punching, but he'll be back, hitting the pads, I think, within 6 weeks. So, can't complain about that. I think, for a hand injury, I think that's a really good result for him.
What else is on the schedule for No Limiters? Are these sort of shows the next? Nikita, Tim, any No Limit on Fox shows planned?
We haven't got one locked in yet, but given that we've got August, we've got Nikita, September is Tim, we will have space there to fill in a show that we might be able to share with you at a later date. But we've got so much talent that we want to showcase. I guess once we build out these next 2 cards, we'll know what we still have room for, and if we've still got room to show off, some of our talent, then we'll chuck on another show. And there's still a few more big cards to announce later on in the year as well. So now that these 2 are locked away, we can start planning more purposefully for the following cards.
Am I ever going to get an exclusive? Probably not.
I will give you one. Not right now. I'll give you one. Not right now.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.